All right, so I decided to watch the show Dirty Money, and the episode that I chose was Cartel Bank, which I think is really interesting because it goes into details about how the local national bank HSBC has been accused and actually gone to trial for um, for money laundering for cartels. So just to give you a recap of the episode, so it begins with this woman speaking to her father, talking about how she wants to become a journalist and things like that. But we then learned that before these money laundering laws were really put into place, the HSBC really had a hand in it and were really taking advantage of no one monitoring what was going on. So a guy gave an instance of just to give you some statistics, there is about maybe $10 to $15 million that is laundered through just the U.S. and Mexico alone. This money is laundered through cars, trucks, 18 wheelers, SUVs. So technically, all that stuff that you see in movies is real. You can open up an ATV. I'm sorry. You can open up an SUV, open up the back. There could be literally lines of money just lining up the sides of the truck. So, like I said, as we continue to go on, and what's crazy is the way that they found out that HSBC was laundering money was there's this guy who applied for a job. He said that he had recently been rejected from the CIA, so he saw the position on I guess whatever website he was looking at, and it was a position for a team of accountants, financial advisors, whatever you may call it, that monitor money laundering. But as we take a couple of steps back, HSBC had been literally charged with laundering money to cartels. There had been cases built against them, and all of this had substantial amount of proof. But the thing is that HSBC was never charged for any of the money laundering that was going on. There were literally pages and pages and pages of basically, in a sense, of screenshots of just illegal transactions that were going on. Banks have a list of black market people, organized terrorist groups, cartel members, cartel businesses, any businesses that are suspected to be tied into the cartel, that banks are not allowed to do business with the business are not allowed to do business with these people. So the way that this came about is that, like I said, the guy had applied for the job. He was under the impression that he was going in becoming a member of a team to stop money laundering. He was like, he put it into a sense of he was really upset because he didn't get accepted into the CIA, and that he really wanted to make a difference. So he took this job, and he goes into describe how he walked in, and it wasn't even a bank that he went to. It was an empty shopping center, and he came all suited and booted in his suit, and he said he walked in and he saw maybe about 40 to 50 cubicles of people just in jeans and t-shirts. And of course, for him, because he's thinking, if we're supposed to be working for a bank, we're supposed to be stopping money laundering. How is it that you guys are dressed in jeans and t-shirt? He comes to later find out that it was just a facade. HSBC again had been charged with money laundering, had been charged with making illegal wire transactions, but they had been charged, but now nobody had went to jail, nobody had lost their job. What happened was it basically was in a sense of, we know we've been accused of this, we're going to make steps to make this better. And the way that they did this was by basically just creating that facade of a team who was supposed to be technically monitoring and making sure. And so the guy starts to do his own research. He starts going through transactions that's been made at HSBC, wire transfers, and he checks this against the list. He checks this against the list of illegal groups that are not supposed to deal business with banks, and he realized that HSBC had literally hundreds of transactions for hundreds of thousands of dollars going into these banks and being transferred to other accounts. And he saw a name that looked familiar, and he started to dig deeper and realized that the way that these people were laundering this money, what they were changing the names, simple changes like adding a dot here and there or adding a dash, because in the system it does not register as the same name if you separate it. So he decided that he wanted to pass this information along to the CIA. So that's how the whole investigation really got started. He decided to pass that information along. They started an investigation, and again, more and more proof started coming up about how HSBC had been dealing in illegal acts and money laundering, and they were basically cleaning money for cartels. Dirty money that they had made in Mexico had crossed the border going into U.S. And they also talked about how there's a difference. It's a lot it's a lot more strenuous process leaving U.S. going into Mexico. But that process is not as strenuous leaving Mexico coming into U.S. because you have that passport, you have what you need. You know, they're thinking, oh, you were just visiting. So again, these were cars full of cash. These were trucks full of cash, SUVs, vans full of cash. And the way that they did it was they took it to banks. And the episode also gave an example of it. It goes like this: you could say if there's a drug cartel member, they go into a bank and they say, I want to take out a $300,000 loan to open a bakery. So of course, with the bank, you have to have an account. But say the cartel member will do this. Well, I want to make $1 million deposit. So then him making that $1 million deposit now opens up a line of credit. The video gave the example of he gave $1 million and it gave him a $300,000 credit limit, but it was based on that $1 million. So the bank had just cleaned that money for him and didn't even realize what was going on. So I thought that was really interesting. The video, of course, went on to give statistics towards the end, and come to find out that December of 2017, HSBC had been acquitted of all charges. Nobody went to jail. Nobody lost their job. The United States Department of Justice dropped all charges against HSBC. They had in the video mentioned before, literally maybe about 5 minutes before, there was literally a transcript of basically HSBC admitting to what was going on, admitting to the fact that they had taken these illegal actions. In every court hearing that they had board members come out, they had supervisors, CEOs, and all they had to say to refute this was, we understand the charges we've been accused of that are against us, but we're making steps. But we're taking the necessary steps to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Again, although all of these actions were taken before that strict monitoring had been going on, they basically just got over it. And they were able to launder millions of dollars and fund numerous cartels and clean their money for them. And basically nothing happened. They got off scot-free. They struck a plea deal for literally the amount of money that they made in 6 months. That's all it was. Like I said, nobody went to jail. They struck a plea deal. And I mean, like I said, in the video, I went on talked about people who they showed their responses and all that about how they didn't think it was fair. That they basically just were conducting illegal businesses for years. And all they got was a plea deal for money that they make in 3 to 6 months. So they felt as if it wasn't really fair. But I thought that was a really interesting episode. Like I said, I think there's an interesting. I know HSBC. If you don't know, Google it. It's a national bank. It's a huge bank. They do a lot of financial work for big name companies. And to think that they got off scot free for just laundering money, I think that's really interesting.